Big up everybody tuned in, people. Deluded, I'm back again. As we know, it's the transfer window, the news, rumors, differences of opinions, twists and turns. They're not going anywhere. The news is ever turning. And I thought I was done for today, but apparently John Cross has turned down, Arsenal have turned down the opportunity of signing Onana. Ramsdale potentially could leave on loan, not necessarily just permanent. And there's a couple of other bits and pieces and isms and schisms. Now, you would have seen me look to the left of myself or the right on this screen. That's because I'm making sure everything's prepared. So I can actually just share my screen with you lot, people. So if you give me 30 seconds or less, that's what the galley said. That's so immature for me. I'm joking. Anyway, smash the like button. Let's get straight into it, man. You always call me boring. I think if you lot saw my real sense of humor, wait, get a peek. But John Cross has been speaking. Now, again, every journalist from John Cross to David Ornstein to Fabrizio Romano to Charles Watts and the ITKs, and everybody's got things to talk about. 99.9% of these rumors are BS. I don't doubt anybody's sources and these sort of things, but nobody is directly working for the club, so we essentially don't know. In terms of outgoings, we can't comment until we see it happening. In terms of incomings, as I always say, until you see them pictured at our training ground or at the Emirates saying that they've watched Bergkamp and Omri and all these guys growing up and holding shirts and scarves, don't get excited. Clearly, Arsenal fans, we know what we need to do. Well, I hope Mikel Arteta and they do. I'm pretty sure they do. But to us commoners, I think everybody would like a striker. Everyone would like a central midfielder. A winger would be the step in the right direction, respectfully to the wide options that we've got. But somebody that is legitimately going to put pressure on Saka, Martinelli and Trossard, because those are the three guys really and truly. Shout out Jesus, because I think he's back next season and he'll show his quality. Rumours consistently link us with a left back. So it's fair to say Mikel Arteta probably wants that. I wonder what that means for Kirill Zinchenko. I don't think Tomiyasu or Timber have anything to worry about, but you get it, people. You never know what the mad scientist Mikel Arteta is doing. To be anyone in life, you have to be a bit mad. So I trust the manager, but I think those areas, or let's just say a defensive body, and not get hung up on left back as well as central midfield up front and up front and on the wings. That's a step in the right direction. I don't believe unless we've got a 20-man squad of players that genuinely can come in and do a job, genuinely are trusted to a certain point. Because let's be honest, really, it was probably about 12 last season. Trossard on the bench and whoever's starting, we need that to go to 20. Now, I would give or take, I'd say there's about 14 players, but I digress. Let me know your thoughts on what I've said. Smash the like button, let your creative juices start flowing, and any comments, get them in. Arsenal put 4 up for sale. I don't think we're going to learn anything new here at the moment, but Arsenal are likely to be busy in the transfer window with ins and outs, hopefully, and they are certain to offload players with the likes of Aaron Ramsdale, Eddie Nketiah, Emil Smith-Rowe, Reece Nelson, all potential departures. But it may be difficult for them all to go, because otherwise Arsenal could leave themselves short when it comes to homegrown players, and that could affect the size of their squad. I'm sure, based on the length of time that they've been here, Martinelli and Saliba, if they haven't already, those two could technically go down as homegrown players. I don't think all of the players that are listed here and all the others that potentially could leave will all leave, but we'll have to see, people. We all know the rumors and whatnot. In fact, big up David Raya. David Raya counts because he's basically been in England since 16. Big him up as well. Apparently Gabriel, I keep forgetting Gabriel's not the oldest. So yeah, indirectly that does give us a bit of wiggle room. You look at assuming Saliba, Gabriel, David Raya. I'm sure Martinelli at some point comes into it. Declan Rice. Who else? And let's be honest, Eddie Nketiah, Smith-Rowe, Reece Nelson, they're not all going to leave. So we'll probably keep some, really. Apparently, the likes of Aaron Ramsdale, Nketiah, Smith-Rowe and Nelson are a big part of the Arsenal squad. And while 2, possibly 3 might go, it'd be hard to see them all depart. And away from actually the homegrown reasons, I'm not a fan of letting all of these players go and then bringing people in. Like, again, there are people that probably need to go this summer, people that need to get phased out next summer and the summer beyond that, and you just never know. But if you was to listen to some Arsenal fans, they want to sell Smith-Rowe, and I'm not saying they're wrong individually, but focus on the collective. Sell Nketiah, Ramsdale, Smith-Rowe, Nelson, who else? Partey, Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko. Like, we can't sell half of the squad, really. We're not going to go and do a madness. No clue why that changed, people. But yeah, apparently with 3 years left on his deal, Aaron Ramsdale could yet leave on a season-long loan agreement if the right club does not come up, which is true. You know, he could leave permanently and bring some money in if rumours are to be believed. He's been linked with Chelsea, AC Milan, Newcastle, Wolves, and whatnot. You know, ideally he would, not ideal for him, but you'd want him to stay and just try and get his spot back from David Raya. Would have two good goalies there, or he goes out on loan. And I think even Nketiah couldn't be ruled out leaving on loan. I think Smith Rowe is, you could actually say Nketiah and Nelson. Smith Rowe's got 2 years left on his deal, so you never know. He could play for a new contract. He could be moved on, or he could go out on loan. Even that 24, I think we're kind of past that now. You're either part of this thing or you move on, and then he plays well, gets a new deal, or, you know, we sell him for more money next summer because his stock's on the floor. Regardless of his stock, we need to get decent money, because we've seen other players of other teams, or even some of these names that are listed here, if they were at other teams, they're going for decent money. So I want to see good incomings. I hope Edu can get, you know, can get some significant sales or get decent money. So yeah, apparently the sales may help raise funds, with Arsenal making live six Benjamin Sesko their #1 striker target, while they also want a right winger and potentially a midfielder if Partey goes. I'm sorry, for me, there can't be any potential midfielder that I know on the face of it. Technically, Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira, Kai Havertz is shining up front, but he's an option there. Jorginho has signed a new deal. But even if Partey and Jorginho stay, we need another central midfielder. Let's be brutally honest. We've got two pieces to a three-man midfield puzzle. Odegaard, captain, lovely. Declan Rice, revelation. All the others have done their job and they're good. But nobody has staked their claim for that to be their position. We ain't got a central midfielder to partner Declan Rice that you can bet on for 30 of the 38 games. Partey, quality player, fitness, myth. Jorginho, great. Take nothing away from him, but not a 38-game man. If I'm honest with you, you know, he's part of the squad. I'm happy he's staying, but I actually feel last season Mikel Arteta probably had to utilize him more than he would have liked to, people. So yeah, that's music to my ears with a right winger, with Benjamin Sesko pursuit. Don't like the language of that sentence. Central midfield needs to be addressed regardless. Crucially, last paragraph, one midfielder definitely not joining is Everton's Onana, who was also linked in January, but that caused raised eyebrows back then, and it's still not on the radar now because he's not the type of midfielder they want. I think there's an admiration for his talents, and if he was available for cheap, or if you could get that exact kind of player for like a 10 or 15 million, in addition to signing that left-sided 8, I think we'd go for that. I feel we're more looking for someone more closely aligned with what Granit Xhaka was doing. Someone that's midfield strengths, while you have to be all action, is probably, you know, their strengths are more in the opposition's half and with the ball and stuff like that, then obviously winning the ball back and being a physical man. So yeah, Onana's probably just going to cost too much, if I'm honest with you. Team News and Ticks, and big up him and Charles Watts. They're making great content on YouTube. Go and check that out, people. I was told in November that Osimhen was our primary target as a striker. I can honestly say I've not heard his name mentioned since from any of my contacts. I can't see it happening. It shows you things change. I just think Osimhen is a quality player. It just doesn't make sense from an Arsenal perspective. You know, again, I don't care about the money. It's not my money. I ain't got the money that's, you know, to buy Osimhen. But you look at, you know, the fact of they want over 100 odd million. He's going to be on probably 250k, 300 grand a week. Obviously, you'd hope at 25 he's angling for a 5-year deal. So again, you're paying the transfer fee, and then you know, there's 52 weeks in a year. He's on, assuming he's on 250 to 300k a week times 52. You know, times that final number by 5 years. That's the true cost. Obviously, if you win Prems and Champs, nobody cares. It's lit. But it's probably just doesn't make sense. And that's before you even talk about his potential signing on fee and all of that kind of stuff. So it shows you that things have changed, or maybe indirectly, you know, because let's be honest, Osimhen's agent probably doing the right thing, probably interested in a move into Arsenal. We saw him talking up moving to Chelsea, Paris Saint-Germain onto him. And again, clubs, 1 minute clubs are interested, then they're not. So there's a lot of moving parts and nobody actually knows. But I like Osimhen. I just don't think it makes sense for Arsenal. Once again, allegedly, Onana will not be joining Arsenal this summer. The player's not on their radar because he's not the type of midfielder they want. On Sesko, Team News and Ticks has said no one is going to activate the release clause unless they know he's told them he's going to sign for them. It's highly likely only one club will activate the release clause if he is to leave. We may hear news of what he's decided soon, but I wouldn't expect anything complete until July, which probably he's focusing on the Euro. So again, what's being projected in the media and what's actually going on in the world of football are very different things. So I have to see. I've done a video on Turan people and Onana actually, so check that out. When this video is done, by the time this second news video comes out, you would have seen the first one come out. You know, I did a video with Jess, so the bare content for you. I'm not against bringing in Turan because this is the highest his transfer fee's ever been quoted in some of the reports. You know, you've seen as low as 15 million euros and as high as 30 million for a 23-year-old who can play as a left-sided 8. It wouldn't be the worst sort of signing, but apparently Man United are onto him. So is that an angle for us to decide? I did discuss Eze in a previous vid, 60 million pounds. Obviously, you know, the fact of he can play out wide in the 10, in the 8, England international on the right side of 20. You know, he's got a player. He's a player that will get bums off seats in stadiums, and he's getting better and better. Can play as an 8 if I haven't made that clear. Would love to sign him really and truly. And obviously that could be offset with some sales. You know, the Ramsdales, the Nketiahs, the Tavareses, the Lokongas, the Tierney's, etc., etc. Easier said than done. I don't think we're going to go for Eze just because I don't think he's the 8 profile Mikel Arteta would like, but he's a player I would like, man. And in a day and age where a lot of these footballers are robots and not really enjoyable to watch, Eze is one of the most exciting and entertaining footballers, I believe, in the Premier League. And he's only going to get better and better. And football's a funny old game, man. He got released by Arsenal. He's now an England international. That's why you should never give up on your goals in life, people. Lautaro Martinez, I think it's fair to say that case is finished with Arsenal, but nonetheless, apparently he will extend his contract at Inter Milan until 2029. Chelsea are to make a proposal for Julian Alvarez. I would love him at the carpet, people. Chiesa, I'm not as hot on him as I was during his Fiorentina days, but apparently his future at Juventus is uncertain. Napoli, Newcastle, Aston Villa, and Bayern Munich are interested, and he would cost 40 million. Now, he is an adaptable player that can play across the front three, and he could be something. Unfortunately, when you mention Chiesa, you think of injuries, and we already know we've already got a couple of quality players that can't stay fit. Gabriel Magalhaes has said he would join Brazilian side Corinthians, the side he supported since he was a child. Obviously, that's probably towards the twilight of his career. You lot know me, I'm a big fan of Lenny Yoro. I've actually got a video that hasn't been released a few months ago. I might get a thumbnail done and shamelessly get that out. United are looking to buy him and apparently bidded 60 million euros. Real Madrid are apparently leading the way. Now, if I'm him, when you've got Saliba and Gabriel in front of you, I'm not too sure. Real Madrid, you've obviously got quality players in front of you, but the lure of them is too big to turn down. And United's a big dog in its own right. And to be fair, Lenny Yoro, you know, I want you at Arsenal. Real Madrid have been linked with you. Man United, you'd reckon you could get a spot, you know. I know you experience isn't on your side, but, you know, the only centre-half you probably would realistically not play ahead of, but you could partner as Lisandro Martinez. Big up Maguire, but you could take his spot. Lindelof, you could finesse his spot. I don't even think Man United have any other centre-halves, Johnny Evans and whatnot, so it'd be a great signing for them. I would love Arsenal to get involved. Chelsea are apparently looking at Elise, and Man United are getting involved. I don't think Crystal Palace want to lose Elise and Eze, but who knows? 60-odd million, and I must admit, if it would slightly different positions, even though there's a lot of similarities between Eze and Elise, I would prefer Elise, but I must admit, I'm starting to change really and truly, man. Elise would be amazing at Arsenal. Chelsea are still being linked with Napoli's Osimhen, and so are we. Apparently, they need to sell before they can bring in. And, you know, apparently Napoli want Lukaku, so I wonder what that would mean. We've already spoken on that. We've heard Arsenal would accept offers for Reece Nelson. What that offer would be, what an acceptable offer would be, I'm not too sure. It has been previously mentioned that Brighton are keen to bid 25 million. So if you could get 25 million on, unfortunately, a man that can't get football here and a sell-on clause, I wish Nelson the best, man. I hope he gets to show his quality that he was projected to have when he came through the academy. But then we keep it moving, really and truly. If you brought in a Kudus and a Elise, a Neto, or, you know, even Bakayoko from PSV, we keep it moving. Tierney's days are numbered. We have seen reports saying that, you know, Arteta is not interested in reintegrating him. Tierney's basically said the same. He would love a return to Celtic, and I hope he has the best Euros he can. He had a decent spell at Sociedad, didn't pull up any trees and whatnot, still had some injuries. He's got 2 years left on his deal, so we're going to have to take a hit in that regards. West Ham are more likely to sell Mohamed Kudus. Obviously, they can't really get rid of Paqueta because of the betting charges. Kudus, we've heard, you know, rumours that Arsenal were keen to bring him in last summer, but we couldn't at the time. Would love Kudus again. If you could get a Kudus again, he's very versatile. That would be amazing. It's these kind of things that we need. Unfortunately, though, despite there being a lot of interest from Premier League clubs, what are West Ham going to ask for? You just never know, people. And once again, we've gone over that, but Eze's got a £60 million release clause on his head. So let me know your thoughts on Kudus, on Elise, on Alvarez, on Ramsdale, on everything else we've discussed, people. You can rest assured, any emerging news, I'll get things out for you lot. Go and check out the other bits and pieces I've released today. I've done another transfer news video where we covered everything that wasn't covered, obviously, at this moment in time. Big up She Knows Arsenal. We did a video speaking about such, people, so check that out. And go and have a butchers of my Thuram and Onana videos where I looked at what they can offer Arsenal. That being said, as usual, big up you lot for tuning in. As I said, like, comment, subscribe, and them things there. We've got to 60,000. Let's try and get to 70 before the end of 2024. I can't do it without you lot. But enough rambling. Peace.